Bang.
Welcome back, guys. I'm Jon Najarian. CJ and Monty are here as well, providing the real insight, and I'm here for comic relief. But the good news is that the bulls are laughing in Bitcoin land because we're pushing back up. I got us at 58,118, 58,118 right now, up about 4% on the session or in the last 24 hours. And that's a nice way to start the week out, eh, Monty?
Not bad, John. Not bad at all. It's feeling good here in Chicago. It's the start of a new week. Sun is shining. Bitcoin's up. So no complaints over here on my end. But one thing that we were talking about a little bit before the show, and I'm really excited to kind of get your guys' take on this, is, I mean, we've talked a lot in the past about how the legacy markets and its correlation with Bitcoin is so important. But this morning, we're kind of seeing the traditional markets down a bit. And I'm just kind of curious, John, what is your outlook for the traditional markets for the rest of the week? Do you think they can rebound and have a strong week?
I do, Monty. And I think most of our listeners know that, global events do make a difference. Frequently, when people are feeling giddy about the stock market, Bitcoin can rise if there's somebody in there, aggressively buying. But Bitcoin, it still is one of those things that kind of gets a lot of love when people are nervous. Now, we've noted for you guys already last March how when the markets were just tumbling, everything tumbles. I mean, when the markets tumble hard and, hard 30%, 40%, everything's going to go down. I mean, even real estate. But then, real estate and Bitcoin were two of the best buys of last year on those dips, because obviously real estate, everybody started working remotely, and Bitcoin, because it went from under 4,000 to, by the end of the year, you had a 10x on that one. Today, I think, Monty, it's that Archegos Capital, they're a large hedge fund, and a number of people, Goldman Sachs, Credit Suisse, I think a lot of you watching already know that those big firms get front run a lot. And by front run, I mean when somebody knows that you have to buy or have to sell. Have to buy in the case of, Melvin Capital, he had to buy because he was short GameStop. And the Reddit crowd was squeezing him. And they just held on. And so Melvin Capital had to buy. And if you know somebody has to buy, that's like a wounded animal. It wasn't just the Reddit crowd that was pushing it higher. A lot of hedge funds joined in and, started taking bites of that wounded fish as well. And same thing's going on now. Archegos, I think that's how it's pronounced. They had to liquidate DISCA, Discovery Networks, and VIAC. So I think somebody in there, Monty, was front running, meaning selling ahead of them, knowing that there were big orders coming. And that just creates that tumble, because who's the buyer then? I mean, those two stocks, you look at VIAC, it was down 40, 50% in a week. It was dropping 15, 20% a day last week. And, nothing changed that much in their business, just like in GameStop. Nothing changed that much for them. All it was people were aggressively front running, and then they knew that there was a wounded animal. And that's why I'm kind of surprised, Monty and CJ, that it's continuing today, because by the time they tell us what the reason was, because it's not like I have a crystal ball, I don't just know. But now that they've told us, well, here's why, they were front running. This guy had very large positions in these stocks. I guess people are looking at the rest of his portfolio, Monty, and saying, well, let me front run this, let me front run that, but eventually you basically get caught. The people playing that game, eventually, the guy has already liquidated what he has to. But I guarantee people are scrutinizing which stocks are in that portfolio of Archegos other than Discovery and Viacom. And if they haven't dropped a lot, then they're going to sell those in hopes of making a windfall like they made in those other stocks.
That's really interesting, John. Hopefully that sell pressure can kind of be relieved, because I think that would be tremendous for Bitcoin as well. Because we've had a lot of positive news related events for Bitcoin as well. CJ, I know you were up early this morning, rearing to go with some exciting Bitcoin news. You want to talk about what's going on?
Yeah, for sure. And before I do, I definitely like that wounded animal analogy. Very, very fitting for Melvin Capital. But we have Bitcoin spiking here with rumors over a fourth stimulus check now that over 60 lawmakers support further direct payments to Americans. This is another reason I was kind of a little surprised that the stock market wasn't up today. But 50 Democratic U.S. representatives and 11 members of the U.S. Senate are now pressing Joe Biden to support a fourth stimulus check, and even more after that, because they may say Americans are still struggling more than a year into the coronavirus crisis. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell last week told members of Congress the recovery is far from complete and indicated that stimulus checks and other aid weren't likely to drive up inflation. So after reading those comments, it sounds like we may get a fourth stimulus check in the next, even after we get the third one, right? Like we haven't even gotten that one yet. But I think this definitely does fuel the cheap money narrative. It goes into, everything that we've seen thus far when it comes to QE as well as stimulus. The next bit of news I want to get to has to do with Visa now allowing settlement payments using the cryptocurrency USDC. So USDC is not a speculative cryptocurrency. It's a cryptocurrency pegged to the US dollar 1-to-1. And essentially it is the US dollar, but you can send it anywhere in the world in 30 to 45 minutes, roughly, depending on the network congestion. And when you hold it at institutions like BlockFi or Voyager or many others, they lend out that USDC and will provide interest back for it. So having Visa implement this, I think, is a great sign towards further adoption of cryptocurrency. And I think it's going to help people like Voyager, people like StormX, people like BlockFi, or even Coinbase, any institution that's trying to launch a Visa debit card for cryptocurrency so that users of that platform can then spend their USDC. That's going to be critical to truly making institutions like Voyager into like quasi banks where, a younger individual or any individual can spend that money just as if it was, their Bank of America or Chase account. So very promising and very interesting stuff here with USDC and Visa.
Yeah, and pardon me, CJ, I think the highest interest rate that is paid on the Voyager platform, I think, is either for USDC or one of the other tethered currencies.
You're correct. It is USDC.
Yeah, and I think it's like over 8.6% or something like that. Maybe it's even 9 if you own the VGX.
It's on the top of our screen. Yeah, it's 9%.
Well, so again, people have to be comfortable. I know some of the DeFi folks in the audience are not as comfortable with the idea of leaving coins on any platform. The comfort I could offer is that Voyager is a regulated entity. It's not just out there. It's Canadian listed, soon to be hopefully uplisted here in the US on the NASDAQ. And the fact that you're getting virtually nothing in the bank, but you could get 8.5%, 9% on a tethered coin tethered to the US dollar, like USD, is just crazy. It's almost like stealing.
It's almost revolutionary. It's changing the traditional commercial bank structure, right? Because it's depressing. The interest rates at traditional banks are depressing when you compare it with the fact that you can get 9% USDC. But with that being said, Monty, do you want to tell us your Doge of the day?
Is it that time already? Time for the Doges of the day. My favorite.
We always look forward to the Doge of the day just for the animation, for that GIF.
Yes, and we actually were talking with our one of our creative guys over here at Market Rebellion, and we're working on some new graphics for all these segments and stuff. So we got some fun stuff coming your guys' way. It's been a lot of fun working on these sort of things. But let's do it. Without further ado, it's time for the Doge of the day. And I'm going to go with one that you guys are probably familiar with at this point because CJ and I have been talking a lot about it over the past few weeks, and that is GLM. And GLM had a great weekend, really great weekend. I saw some Twitter accounts just absolutely raving about the performance of this asset. And this is exactly what we were kind of talking about last week with some of these ignition assets. When the sell pressure gets relieved for Bitcoin, you can see tremendous parabolic price action in these lower cap alts. And that's exactly what we saw last week. We saw some tremendous sell pressure coming into the options expiration on Friday. And that was driving the price of the market down as a whole. So we saw this compression for GLM in this range of around like 40 to 50 cents for quite a while. But once we saw that sell pressure get relieved, we saw it break to the upside. And one thing that like is really important with these low cap alts is looking at their future utility and if that future utility will appeal to the retail trader. And I think GLM definitely fits that bill because it has kind of a very grandiose possible utility of this democratization of hash power and bringing computing power to all the corners of the world for even people that are limited in terms of their hardware capabilities. I think this is massive in a day and age where we're seeing so many decentralized applications being built on blockchains. We're seeing goods and services become digital. I think now is it's more important than ever for this sort of democratization of hash power to exist. So I think Golem is kind of well positioned to capitalize on the retail money because of its sound utility. And along with that, I think the technicals are positioned well. It just broke above its all-time high. Now it's kind of sitting right below that level. And I think if Bitcoin continues to climb, this is an asset that is going to continue to perform well. So GLM, going to be watching it closely this week. And that is my Doge of the day.
And just to add on to the end of that, Monty, relative trading volume currently up 113% on GLM.
So the volume numbers are there.
Yeah, the volume numbers are there. And, if you've been part of our Market Rebellion crypto community, we've been following that one for the past couple of weeks now. But John, what do you have for us, sir?
Wow. Well, I've been looking at both Link and Mana, and we've talked about both. And I think last week you had Engine, CJ, as well. Or maybe that was Matt, but I thought it was you. But these assets have been performing like crazy. I'm going to go out there and say Polkadot today, DOT, trading around 34.20, 34.23 in that range. A lot of volume in this thing. And, it's got that funny name. You can imagine people making fun of it and having a good time with it on Reddit. But I'm going to go with Polkadot today. But like I said, Mana and Link and Engine have all, been catching my eye in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, those have all performed very well. And I like DOT as well. I actually just picked some up too because of the March interest rate on Voyager. It's very appealing. I think it's, 8% or something like that. So almost up there with USDC. So yeah, I like that pick, John, and it's performing well to start the week. CJ, what do you have for us, my friend?
Mine's going to be Ocean Protocol. Taking a look at the chart, I like the technicals. It's just broken a key level of resistance with a quite sufficient amount of volume. Ocean's one we've talked about quite a while. It's kind of been a nice, flavor of the month type cryptocurrency on Voyager. One of those low cap cryptocurrencies that's seen quite a few spikes over the past few months. So definitely I'm going to be watching that one for a potential increase this week.
Very nice.
Well, remember, guys, you can join the crypto room. It's a chat room, but there's a lot of stuff that gets posted up in there about charts, about these doges of the day, about which coins CJ and Monty are trading, but not just CJ and Monty. Thousands of people are in that room, so you're getting the insights from real traders about which coins they're buying and selling, and it costs you $1 for the first month, $1. And knock on wood, there's so many people in there that Voyager sponsors the segment. And so if you haven't already, I know they had another surge I think Monty talked about it last week that they were number 6 on the downloads, like 3 spots ahead of Robinhood even. So if you try to open and they tell you, hey, it's a slight delay, it's only because it's the most popular crypto app out there. And that's even without New York State being part of it yet. Wait till those guys are in. So check out Voyager and check out Monty and CJ. Go to marketrebellion.com try crypto, marketrebellion.com /try crypto.
Yep. Thank you, Jon. And yeah, like you mentioned, we have an ever-growing community of very bright traders that keep us on our toes. And we appreciate all you guys that stop in there and hang out with us. It just makes it a lot of fun for us. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time with another edition of the Daily Crypto Byte. And once again, thank you guys for watching. We will see you tomorrow.